at Afternoon Craft Corner, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create Halloween apothecary jars from items you have around the home. This idea was adapted from the wonderfully creative website called Magia Mia. First, you're going to want to start with a clean container that has the labels removed. Now I have already sanded it to rough it up. If you don't have sandpaper, that's okay. And then I've put my design on here just with marker. And now what I'm going to be doing is tracing my design with my glue gun. If you have low temp, that's better for your plastic, because the high temp or the regular glue guns will actually melt it. Another option you have for these bottles is if you're looking for a more classic apothecary look, you can take the top neck off. You can remove that. I just kind of sawed it off with a serrated knife. Like so. It gives you more of a classic apothecary look. Also at this time, if you've got your glue gun out, you've already done this, if you're going to stick with your lid, for this one we will, you can attach something like that or a bead, just to kind of give it a little bit more interest. So then you're going to let this cool down. Won't take long. You're going to have, sometimes you'll have some of your tails on here. You can take them off, but you really don't have to. They almost add a little bit of interest. Once everything's dried and cooled, then you're going to want to paint your container, and you're going to start with black paint. And there's different kinds of paint you can use. I tried tempera. That didn't work quite as well. I tried acrylic. That was okay, but sometimes you have to use another coat. And then I tried chalkboard paint because I happen to have some, and that worked really well. But really, any of the paints you've got, you can use. You're going to start by using maybe a sponge brush or a sea sponge. You could do something like that, but you want to be able to daub it like so and get into all the nooks and crannies so that you're not seeing any of the shiny plastic coming through. And if you happen to miss it on this pass, you'll catch it on the next one. So you're going to completely cover everything here, including the lid and the bean on top here. And then I wouldn't do the bottom because there's really no need, and it will stick to everything. So once you've completely covered that with black, you're going to let that set for about an hour, 2 hours, and let it dry. And then you're going to get a dark brown, and you're going to do the same process. Cover it, let it dry, and then you'll get something like a rust color. This one happens to be Tuscan red, barn red, whatever you can find. You can even mix colors. If you just have regular red and a bit of black or brown, you could add that to it. So once you've gotten those 3 colors on and they've all dried, then what you're going to be doing is you're going to be, and this is a completed one with the 3 colors on it, then what you're going to be doing is a really light color, kind of an orangey yellow, and you can even mix a little cream in there. You also want it to be a little bit watered down, so you could even put a little bit of water in there. I think this is the color I used. Okay, and then you're going to want to very gently, very lightly, you could use a Q-tip, you could use a paintbrush, a little sponge, also is another option. You're going to kind of go over the letters first so that you're kind of highlighting them. Like so. You see, you just kind of do it really lightly. If you do something like that, where that's kind of a little too much, a little messy, well, then what you can do is take a paper towel and just a tiny dab of water. And just kind of wipe it, or kind of spread it a little bit so that because you're going to put this all over your bottle. And this is where the sponge comes in. You can even kind of dab it on there because you just really don't want a lot. You can kind of put it like so. And if it looks like it's too much again in spots, that's where your little bit of water. You kind of want to do it where like dust would naturally collect on kind of like that top rim. And you're going to need to play with it a little bit because it's not going to be perfect the first time you do this. Trust me. Okay, so you're just going to kind of play with this, kind of get it the way you want. You're trying to get that kind of an old weathered look to it. And once you've completed that, then you're just going to let it dry. Okay, and then you're going to go on to the next thing, and that is decorating them. You can do things like use twine. Here's twine around the neck of this. You could decorate it by putting something on the lid. I had a little one here with a little skull. You could also use raffia. That's another option. And then for the jar that if you do this, here's a spider too. If you do this, so it looks a little bit more kind of like those classic apothecaries, you can, I just took pieces of cork that I had, a cork tile, and I cut them out, and then I glued them. And I had 4 different ones here in gradually larger sizes. The bottom one is the one that fits into the lid. So you glue them. You can glue them with wood glue or Elmer's or even your glue gun. And then once you've kind of got that set, you're going to wind up probably, because you want this to be just a little bit larger than the hole, you're going to need to sand this down until it fits. Like so. Okay, and that kind of gives you that stopper look, because it's really hard to find corks that are this large. Okay. And here's another container. This one happens to be a spice tin. I also have the cork here that I just fitted to the top. And then I added bits of wood from my landscaping in my front yard. You can also then color this if you choose to make it darker, make it look maybe a little bit more woodsy, weathered. Once you're finished with your containers, you're going to want to seal them. And for that, I would recommend that you use a matte acrylic spray. Kind of just spray them all over and let them set for a little bit to air them out. And then they'll be good to go. Another thing to be aware of is these things tend to be a little bit top heavy, especially if you've created something like this. So you might want to give them some ballast by throwing some marbles or sand or dried beans or something like that in there. So I hope you have enjoyed today's holiday craft. For detailed instructions, head over to the calendar on the Crystal Lake Public Library website. Thank you and happy Halloween.